I spoke with the father of this American hero, Tyrone Woods, to get reaction to these developments. An incredible interview. Here's what he had to say.
We have learned so much in the aftermath of this attack. We've learned that the ambassador first requested security. It was denied. We learned that while they were under attack, that they requested security and none was forthcoming. And we learned that they were watching this in the State Department. Charlene Lamb said they were watching this in real time, so everybody knew what was going on. And I wanted...
Right, exactly. When I went back to Washington, D.C., when the bodies were flown in, I knew that something was fishy. It was just obvious that something was wrong with this picture. And in my mind, I questioned, this was obviously a long, drawn-out battle. Why was there no immediate air support sent in that would have saved the lives of not just the other 30 people, but also the life of my son, who truly was an American hero? Now it's come out that pleas for help were made not just by the other individuals, but also my son. And that these pleas were turned down by the White House. Now, as you know, I'm a retired attorney, and I know that these actions legally do not constitute murder. But in my mind, the people in the White House, all of them, who had authority to send in reinforcements to prevent what they knew was going to be the death of my son, are guilty of murdering my son. There's new information that came out this morning that my son, on a couple of different occasions, requested permission to go to the aid of those 30 people who were being attacked. And on at least 2 of those first occasions, he was told, stay where you're at. Let them die. Don't go. And it does not surprise me that my son disobeyed orders in order to save American lives. That's the type of American hero he was.
So after he was told to stand down, as I understand it, there were numerous other pleas for help. And your son actually, as I understand it, rescued many people and got them out of the consulate. Is that true?
One of the real touching emails I got was with an individual, I won't mention the name, but I received an email from someone who said, your son's sacrifice saved my life. And he saved more than one life. And that's the type of man he was. That's the type of leadership the military needs.
So if he would have obeyed that order to stand down rather than help the ambassador's team, that person is telling you they wouldn't be alive today.
That is correct.
And
many other people as well.
Your son first got involved, was told to stand down after they heard shots at approximately 9:40 p.m. Now, as I understand it, it wasn't until about 4 a.m. the next day that your son, after he had rescued other people, was still fighting in this attack, and it was then that he took on mortar fire.
That's my understanding. For 7 hours, the cowards in the White House were watching something they knew that was going to potentially kill those 30 people and potentially kill my son. And they refused to do that, even though they had a moral duty to send support. They chose not to. This is not the way the SEALs operate. The SEALs are an honorable unit, and Ty was honorable by disobeying the powers in the White House that told him not to rescue those lives.
Your son was told to stand down. Here's a Navy SEAL with all the time and training and effort. He risks his military career, risks his life for 7 full hours, rescues all these people. Multiple requests throughout the entire period go. It's being watched in real time, and nobody sends any help. I can't fathom this. And then we're told the president goes out there for 2 weeks and couldn't admit that this is a terrorist attack. Why do you think that he tried to blame it on this video or denied that it was a terror attack?
You know, unfortunately, Sean, we have a generation of liars who have no moral background. Hopefully, my son's sacrifice and his moral courage and his moral strength will encourage our next generation to be completely different, that we will change our direction, that we will raise up a new generation of true American heroes, such as my son, who have moral courage and who are not liars like too many people in authority are nowadays.
I know you met the president and you met Hillary Clinton when they had this service.
That's correct, at Andrews Air Force Base.
At Andrews Air Force Base.
Yeah.
You said the president couldn't look you in the eye and it was like shaking hands with a dead fish.
That's exactly right.
And so you felt he couldn't look you in the eye and that basically he felt no empathy. And you said the same thing pretty much about Hillary Clinton.
Right. What happened was he came through there kind of after everyone else had been, you know, in the room circulating. And he came over and shook my hand. You know, I wanted to do more than just shake his hand, so I kind of put my arm around his shoulder to have just a little bit of physical warmth. Not a major hug, but just a small one. And, you know, he it wasn't a powerful voice. It was more just a whiny little voice. I'm sorry. You know, and I could tell by his voice he wasn't even sorry. It'd be like a little kid that's told by the teacher to go apologize to Johnny out on the playground. And when he looked at me, his face was pointed towards me, but he couldn't look me in the eye. He was looking over my shoulder. And like I say, I thought he'd, you know, political. It was like literally like shaking hands with a dead fish. Wow. And I did not believe him at all as far as it being sorry. And now we understand why. Was he one of those cowards that was in the White House watching my son being murdered on TV and refusing to do anything? That's a question that he will probably not have the courage to answer publicly, but I would like to personally know that answer, and one of these days, I'm sure that we will have that answer.
It is the hardest thing to lose a child, and learning about the heroics of your son are beyond inspiring. He put everything on the line. You know, if we want to use a biblical quote, no greater love hath a man to lay down his life for somebody else. Your son laid down his life for others.
That's right.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, Sean, and I really appreciate the work that you're doing.
I appreciate your time. Thank you for being with us.
Probably the most unbelievable interview I've ever had. Coming up, Congressman Darrell